Beardy and the Beast, The Second Wall.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba. This is a placeholder intro song.
Welcome to The Second Wall, a binge-free zone where we will look at a series and discuss it in small chunks, similar to water cooler conversations of old. We can be found on most podcast and social media platforms, a full list of which can be found at beardyandthebeast.com. Today we'll be discussing the Netflix series Squid Game. With me, of course, is Drew. Please feel free to join the conversation in the comments below.
Don't do it. That isn't you. You're a good person at heart.
Yeah, it's a shame 218 isn't.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, if we were to look at this fully objectively, the person who is most fully aware of the reality of their situation is probably 218.
Well, of who's left, I think 67 was completely aware of her situation.
Yeah, I suppose. But what I mean is, he knows that there's only one person that's going to get through this game,
Yeah.
and it's his life or these other people's lives. And he's fully abandoned that line of morality. So he is capable doing anything at this point. And it's been progressively been getting more severe, and you can actually watch the progression throughout the series.
Yeah. I argue that 218's always had that. Like, we've kind of discussed that a few times. I think 218's always been that ruthless. He was just had to hide it for, social norms.
No, I don't think he's
And I
a full
look right back.
psychopath.
I don't know. I look right back at the Umbrella game, the Honeycomb game. He knew exactly what he was doing when he didn't warn 456.
I mean, you make that assumption, but there's nothing ever explicitly said. So
But they didn't need to
we
say
can
it.
only assume that he fully knew what the game was going to be. It's only implied. I definitely see this more of the descent of man rather than it being a hard line. He was always this way.
No, I think 456 is that when he was going to go and take out 218 when he was sleeping. But no, I think 218 fully knew. It was the facial reactions. It was the actions that were there without dialogue needing to be seen. I mean, again, right afterward, he basically, he basically apologized to 456 about it. Like, he was going to stop 456 from picking the umbrella, but then didn't.
I can only disagree with you.
Hmm.
But we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Because in the end, we're left with 218, who legitimately is at that point where he just slit someone's throat while they're completely defenseless. And boy howdy, I didn't expect 218 to be this level of antagonist. Because I called it.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Like, I think I really do feel like 218's reservations, it just feels to me like it was a face you put on. You don't want to be outwardly the hostile one when there's still so many people around because you need that group to survive. But I'm pretty sure said early on that no, he was going to backstab and he was going to backstab hard. Like it doesn't shock me. I think you're right. There's some progression to it, but I don't think the progression is him descending into this. I think the progression is, oh, I can let the mask slip.
Yeah, and again,
And
we can only
yeah,
agree to disagree on this point.
yeah. I
Um,
think 456 is a much better example of of the descent into the madness when he was going to go and take out 218 during the like when he was asleep and 67 stopping him and then like immediately diving at 218 again when he sees what he did to 67. That to me was more the fall of man. Again, we still don't know what 218 did to get here, but he was always a scumbag. And I mean, again, our first reactions was, oh, he's just lied and cheated his friend to get to where he is. Hasn't been confirmed, but that's always been our suspicion.
it was interesting to me. Um, we've talked a lot about the predictability of this
Mhm.
series. Like a
Yeah.
whole lot of it is fairly predictable.
Mhm.
I'm really happy that this didn't end up being a flashback episode.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, I would have liked a little bit of clarification on a few things, but the way that they do storytelling in this series, it would have been either too heavy-handed
Mm.
or there would have just been too much.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, what was it, episode 5, the cop episode,
Yeah.
which was fairly needless. Um,
Yes.
I did I did write down though, 67, the way 67 died is the only unexpected thing in the episode.
I agree.
Um,
Um,
I
it,
originally assumed it would be the result of in progress in a game, not
mhm.
literally like shanked in her sleep.
Yeah. So her getting shanked in her sleep raises a couple of concerns in my mind. Like in the episode, it's fine. This is kind of goes back to what I was talking about last time with how I feel parts of this is falling apart and like what are the rules of the game. Like you seem to change them on a whim, which wasn't there in the earlier parts.
Hmm.
So I'm going to like, okay, honestly, you left them the knives. Like in my mind going, but why? I thought the games were the big thing.
Uh, well, to give some like backstory to that, like the massive brawl that ended up in like a significant attrition of contestants was also considered part of the game. I
Yeah.
think I think
But I think I had
whatever.
issues with that too, right?
Yeah, I mean I don't like it,
Yeah.
but I mean it is a valid explanation. It's just not a good one.
Yes. And that's sort of going and then because the follow-up to that is again, we talked about the glass plate game where this was a game where literally everyone could have died, so clearly they don't care enough about the game. But then when they had it set up for 456 to fight 218 there, right after 218's killed someone, they clearly set it up for people to be killed here, and then immediately stop them. Like, so you're changing the rules again. Like, it's
Yeah, the only real rule when it comes to that kind of violence seems to be that violence between contestants is only disallowed when under in-person supervision.
yeah,
Um, the I still think overall as a story they had like a solid first half and an ending in mind, and that they're just throwing stuff at the wall to get between those 2 points
yep.
because things are
I
falling
agree.
apart.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like, this was a strong character episode for the prisoners
Mm,
or the contestants, rather. Um, I think 67's acting, oh, it was just amazing.
yes.
Like everything about it, it's like, I mean, even though I didn't like at first didn't realize how wounded she actually was, um, but just like the reactions, just like she's showing the horror of everything going on around her, like just perfectly in these facial reactions, the inability to eat, like it was just, oh, it
Well,
was amazing.
and even beyond the acting, which superb. Even down to the makeup and the
Hmm.
hair, like it
Yeah.
was perfectly on point. Like the way that her lips were chapped and like,
Oh,
yeah, like
yeah.
you could tell that there was something very wrong with her, but didn't quite know what. I
Yeah.
mean, they definitely implied that it was glass related.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you saw her pull out the huge shard in her stomach, right? About the halfway point, and it was, yeah, everything about that was just, it's stuff like that that make me go, it's like, this is why the show is doing so well.
yes.
It's,
Well, I just
um,
said like all the acting in this,
mhm,
um, like especially 67, 456, 218. Um, can't say much about 101
yeah,
or what's her name, 212.
yeah, 212.
I mean, 212 would have been a great like soap opera actress, like, but as she became more familiar with her role, you could tell that she definitely suited what was going on more. It was
Yeah,
less over the top and more crazy.
yeah.
Um, I would definitely like congratulate the three remaining contestants 456 067 218, the actors and actress of this,
Yeah.
because across the board, like even the hand acting of
Mhm.
218 holding that knife and like the shake,
Yeah,
like looked like a real shake. It didn't look like an intentional.
yeah,
I'm wondering if they even like for that shot filmed his hand for an extended period of time and then just cut out that they.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I'd agree. Like, yeah, just stellar. Um, and it's like most of my issues are coming with just these story things that don't connect. Like they don't make sense, or they're, I guess, not a choice I would have made.
Well,
Um,
it's all gonna end up. Uh, I have a very over the top prediction here, but I don't know if we should talk about Mask and G29 because it applies to my over the top prediction. Yeah, let's talk about them first.
yeah,
So the Huang brothers.
yeah. It
Why?
was. I know. Like, it was one of those things that we said. Like, pretty sure it was one of our couple of different ideas around them. And again, I still, handsome cop trope aside,
Oh, he's so handsome.
was so handsome. Actually, we didn't see a body.
So, even in death, he's handsome.
Yeah. It's, yeah. Why is all I can say. It's like, I don't know if you were trying to set up something. This still isn't something that is added to the story in my mind. And there's possibly some setup, but it was exactly when he was like, yeah, he knew all about the guns and all this stuff. We figured he was probably related, and that's how the legacy was connected. But I,
Yeah, I mean, why?
yeah, exactly.
And I'll tell you why. It is
All right.
the winning contestant needs to run the next series of games.
Okay.
It is somehow like some ridiculously like, oh, you didn't read the fine print BS, or it's the final game, some nonsense like that. Like the way that it's devolving at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they said like the final contestant for the final game runs the next game for the money. And that's why, even though G29's brother, Black Mask, um, we suspected previously won, the reason why he was still living destitute.
Well, we know he won.
Yeah. But this
So,
this also gives a reason as to why he was living in such a way.
all right. I will accept this premise. I have an issue with this premise, though.
Well, I mean, it's bad, but
Well, eh, that aside, let's go from a narrative standpoint within the shows that's been set up at this point.
yes.
There was no survivors at all between the time he won like 6 years ago and this game. Why is he still running the game? It's been like, if
I
it's supposed to be legacy, like in that regards.
It's probably bad that my only response to this is lol plot holes because there's tons.
Yeah.
But the
um,
the the implications that I'm getting from this, and the only way that everything can tie together,
mhm,
I feel like it's the only place that this can end up,
yeah.
which also makes me lean more in the favor of 218 being the final winner.
Mhm, yeah.
There, I mean, we can't have the exploding island as 67 and 456 bowed off into the sunset like I had hoped,
I know,
slash
right?
would have regretted. But I mean, if we're being honest about the predictability of this, I've been throwing out random stuff on a whim,
Yeah.
like we both have, and we've been pretty darn correct most of the way.
Yes.
And it's making me very overconfident in this ridiculous prediction I have.
Yeah, I can see it.
I want to be wrong.
I That's not the first time we've said this, I'm sure.
Well, when I was like, oh yeah, Black Mask is definitely his brother, and I
Yeah.
hope I'm wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it doesn't,
so the
I don't care that Black Mask is the brother. I don't care about that storyline at all. It's not doing anything.
it's because the end result of the story is legitimately just ends up coming down to why is Black Mask the brother, or that's gonna be the focal point.
Yeah.
And the only way that I can see that it ties together is my ridiculous prediction.
Yep.
Um, I just even comes down to the fact that this episode was called Frontman, which is Black Mask.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one very well. I mean, there's lots of upsides to this episode aside from some of the plot stuff.
Hmm.
I'm very happy that none of the uh, foreign elitists were in this episode.
Oh, I know, right?
They legitimately took away like anything, the majority of positivity I would have had about the previous episode.
Yeah. Well, that's actually an interesting point because this episode is the shortest. It's about half the length of all the other episodes. Wouldn't
Really?
it have been a yes? This episode was only half an hour.
Which
Like
made them.
I saw that, and I was honestly considering it's like, huh, should we just watch both? um, but I noticed that way too late, so didn't come to mind. But yeah, no, this episode was only about half an hour. Wouldn't it have been so much better if they only did a couple of minutes with the elitists and just kind of had this as the aftermath of the last episode.
Yeah, I mean that one elitist drinking scotch in a terrible way was the thing that made me go, "Oh no, he's a bad dude. I don't want to have anything to do with that one."
Yeah.
We all know my love of whiskey and scotch, so frankly, yeah.
Getting there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, just kind of cut out some of that stuff they could have combined. Um, yeah, they could have just combined in that regards. It would have made more sense to me. Again, unless they're trying to set up something else with these elitists.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing I can think of. But
No, I think it's just a um elite class that treats this all as a game.
yeah,
It's I don't see any meaning about it beyond that.
yeah,
More of like a major set piece to frame how. I mean, they didn't even need to, but to frame how the game is even
yeah,
essentially what they were doing.
yeah, yeah.
Which
That's it. It's superfluous. Nope, I can't pronounce words.
superfluous.
Something like that.
I can't pronounce. Well, you know me. I can't pronounce words. Uh, so
So,
this
go
brings
ahead.
me to final. I guess the final question about the game.
It's gonna be Squid Game. You're right.
Oh, if it's oh, I'll you know what? I'll actually be happy if the final
It was
game
on the wall.
was Squid Game on the wall.
It was on the wall.
Oh,
Yeah.
but then how would the? Oh no! Oh no! It means that one of his other friends from childhood somehow. So that was a game they made up.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it was on the wall. I could have sworn I saw it on the wall.
I was joking about that.
I know.
Uh, no, my final question. Getting to this point, it's more of a prediction.
All
So
right.
somehow we've made it through the marble game.
Mm-hmm.
We've made it through the glass game.
Yep.
Uh, it's down to you and me. Who wins?
Oh. Hmm.
I mean, I personally feel I'm not a 218,
Yeah.
but there was something that resonated with me when so I've been starting these series of Second Wall with a quote that stood out for me
Yeah.
um, from each episode. Not
Yeah.
necessarily something that encompasses the episode, but something that resonated in some way.
Yeah.
And my first quote was, "That guy's not the reason that I'm still here, okay? I'll tell you the
Mm.
reason. It's that I'm willing to do almost anything to win this confrontation."
Yeah.
And I think, at a pure aspect, if we're to take motivation out of it beyond that, um, I think I'm willing to go to a further extent.
So I was gonna say you. Uh, for actually a very similar reason. So first of all, I know that if either of us won and we're not tied to some BS like your prediction with the games and having to run them, and that's where all the money gets to go. Um, I know either of us would take care of the other's family.
Yeah.
I know that. Like that's no question in my mind. Um, but I remember when we were younger, like when we would scrap, even though I could have won so many times, I always hesitated and gave you the chance to recover. because I wouldn't push that last little bit further.
But it also
Though,
depends on the writing of the show.
yes.
Because my prediction in that case would be I would win unless I have a final light of reasoning and then sacrifice myself.
All right. So I've got one better for you. I have a better way that this is going to survive. So it's you, me, and one other person. All right.
As long as it's not
Let's put
240, because I'll kill you for 240.
it.
She's
So
bay.
as long, so let's finish this off from the glass game.
Yeah.
Right. So before anything else happens, I see the writing on the wall. Only one person is getting out of this alive. You see the writing on the wall. Only one person is getting out of this alive. I want to stop the game.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter what the other person says. We have a majority.
That's true. And it's possible that you may have uncovered the reason why the Wang brother may still be in charge because a
Mm,
successor hasn't been found.
mm,
Because either all the contestants have died, because the game is doesn't follow its own rules, or alternatively, because the contestants voted it out.
yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the list of winners to see if there were winners in the other years. I can't remember that clearly enough.
Hmm,
But
it might take some convincing, but
mm.
I guess you're probably smart enough that you could probably trick me into stopping the game and not killing. Uh, that's probably how it would end, legitimately.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I can be pretty disconnected and cold-hearted about a lot of stuff, but killing one of my besties is not something I'm yet capable. Mind you, if I'm surrounded by death, you never know. Will that make it worse or will that make me more empathetic, right? I'm gonna
Yeah,
ponder this. I'm gonna
yeah.
ponder this. It's a something that requires soul searching. I just
And
I think you
I
have more of those pesky morals than I do.
and I think now just to go with that pesky death aspect that we're being surrounded by, um, it would be even more likely if they had done the tug of war game like we said they should have.
Oh, dude, I've actually I've really enjoyed this show, except for some of the gaping plot holes
Yeah,
and some of the questionable writing. I think
yeah,
it's mostly being held on by the directing itself and the acting,
yeah,
sound design and set design too. Um, but this series entirely would be increased in quality at least 30% by going with your suggestion for the tug of war.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, just would have worked better, and still kept the same thing, right? Just that slight disconnect. Now I don't feel like. I mean, I understand it's that survival bit, but yeah,
There's one there's one last little point that I wanted to mention about this episode that I wanted to bring up. And it was conveyed very well, the emptiness that was being found.
Mm,
Like, and it enhanced the situation with the three actors 45667 and 218. But watching them walk through the um Escher like, was it
yeah,
Escher like
yeah.
labyrinth, and seeing the just the three beds where there was many before,
Hmm.
like there was a hollowness and emptiness at that point.
Yeah,
And I feel like it had been getting like more so as the series had gone by, but I didn't notice it until.
I agree.
And I really like it really stuck out to me in a very positive manner. And I was like, oh, like it's always nice when you're watching something and you directly notice something that they explicitly put in a positive light.
Yeah.
And that was the situation for me.
Yeah, I agree. I noticed that, and I mean, you're right. It probably was getting emptier and emptier, and it was so chaotic. Like all of the beds were turned into fortresses and such. So it wasn't quite as obvious, but again, such a nice touch. There's so much good about this. It's just, I said, there's just some plot holes that made me go, "What the fuck?"
I'll tell you one thing. Want whatever cell phone that cop has.
I know, right?
Like that battery is legit. Like I had
I
a
mean,
power maintenance today, so my power was out for half of the day.
yeah,
And I was like, I was sitting here, I was watching a video on my phone, and it's like, oh, my battery's like dead. But
yeah.
the cop can like record audio, take pictures, record video, take notes at night while the screen is full bright. Like there was no moment where he dimmed it to save battery. You didn't see him disable
Yeah,
the wireless antenna so that he could save battery, put it in
yeah.
airplane mode.
Um, oh, interestingly, that means this place can't be that far from the mainland.
To be fair,
To be
uh,
fair.
where I am, like I drive 20 minutes and my cell phone switches over to US networks.
All right, sorry. So it's not that far from civilization, then. I
Hmm.
guess is a better way to put that.
uh yeah, I think maybe like within an hour boat ride probably.
Yeah, it would have to be like
Yeah.
to get any type of cell signal.
Yeah.
Like the landline, I can understand working. Sure, you have some sort of satellite uplink to it or whatever, but
It
getting cell signal like that,
Well, I think that was also a closed system, so if I were to like nerd actually
yeah,
uh w- was it 119? I think is what they use in Korea for
yeah.
emergency services. I could be wrong. That might be the UK.
No, 119 sounds right.
But like it didn't even try to go through.
Mm,
So I'm pretty sure that's like a probably a closed VoIP system.
yeah.
But at least in the next episode, we get to see the architect,
Yes,
001.
obviously.
Uh, oh, wait. You know what? The fact that they haven't unveiled 001 as the architect almost tells me that 456 is actually going to win.
Ooh.
Because who else is going to rein in the fact that 456 won? It's going to be unveiled by 001.
Hmm.
I mean, that's what I hope. It's the only way they can do that and have it be good. Not have the reveal until the resolution.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure which I'd be no. I All right, I can see that going that way. I would prefer at this point 218 is the one that wins,
Yeah.
but you're right. The fact they haven't revealed 001 as the actual architect. Oh, no, I don't know if there's anything to support this one.
I don't know. If
All right.
456 wins,
Mhm.
it's probably the only way that the architect reveal could be good.
Yeah.
If they reveal it in a different manner at a different time, I'll be unsatisfied.
Yeah. No, that's
Uh,
fair.
yeah, so we got two theories. Um, I'm 50-50 now, whereas before I was 75 218 was going to win.
Yeah.
218 is definitely not going to sacrifice himself.
No.
But I
Yeah, yeah, he's not going to have that hero moment that we said might come at some point. That redemption.
and 218 lost the benefit of self-sacrifice from 456 when he uh, slit 67's throat.
Yeah.
There was a possibility that 456 would sacrifice himself because his daughter's going to live a happy life just without him.
Yeah.
Um, so I could see him being like, I wasn't much of a dad anyways, and this is my former friend. Um, the right now the only hope that I have on this series because it's either gonna have the most amazing ending or it's just gonna fall flat for me.
Yeah.
Um, the only thing I want out of this is for 218 to admit that he stole 456 test.
Yes.
So the standardized test theory we had.
Yeah.
That's
That
all I want now
I agree.
because
Yeah.
that's the
Well,
perfect starting point for 218.
yeah. Yeah. I agree. Because again, I mean, the 50-50 choices we have, I the
I'm
way
not.
the show's going and the way our we've been throwing out our predictions and them being right, we're very close to right the entire time. I'm not going to be. I don't know if I'm going to be happy either way. It's hard to say, but yeah, I
Yeah,
want to see. I want to see that.
that
I want to
reveal.
see that reveal of 218 screwing over 456.
You know, honestly, I thought I was like hashtag super smart during a Carol and Tuesday when I was like, I would throw out predictions and like a quarter of the time I was pretty close.
Yeah,
Half the time I was in the ballpark,
yeah,
and then I was just playing wrong a lot of the time. But in this one, I like, I'm practically saying, yeah, at this point, I'm practically saying the original architect took the shapes of the cards from the original Squid Game and is a friend. Like, I'm just making stuff up, and I'm 50-50 gonna be right on this.
yeah. I
Um,
had one interesting thought, and this is way left field, and I
I,
don't think there's anything in the show that actually connects this.
I mean, I can make it work.
All right, so, and again, way out there, way tinfoil hatty.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, so Squid Game, as far as we know, is a game that 456 played with his friends. Seems to be localized to them,
Yes.
right? Okay. They talked about when they were talking about marbles. 001 and 456 had very similar stories about marbles. We haven't seen 456's father and don't even know if he exists in the picture.
Oh, you know what they're gonna do? Uh, they get to choose the final game,
Mm.
and they're gonna choose Squid Game.
I could see something like that. That
It's
would
it's a quality
put
of
that.
writing thing.
Yeah, it's that quality of writing thing that puts the again back in my mind. I'm going, then why is it painted on that wall?
Uh, I mean,
But
honestly, it is. It's just it would be the biggest shark jump in the world
yeah,
for it to be like, oh yeah, your old childhood friend is actually the one who started this entire.
yeah, it's there's a reason why I said it's tinfoil hat. It's I can see loose enough connections that I could make this work,
Yeah.
and I just want to throw it because I think it's funny.
I
And
don't know if you're even close to if you're even close to right with this. I'm just gonna be so sad
oh, I know,
because
right?
it's and the reason why is I see the lines. It's possible.
Yeah,
I just don't want it to be.
I
It's
know.
it's it's not a bad prediction per se.
There's
It's
enough evidence to point to the prediction, but oh god, please don't.
yeah, this
Just
this series 100% Hundo P needs more red herrings.
yeah. Yes.
And I mean, it still needs a handsome cop, but you need to work it in a different way.
Yeah. Again, the red herring set. That's exactly it. That's would probably fix just a lot of the odd story issues we have. Is like if these were like anything indicating that we're actually getting some of these red herrings,
Yeah.
right? Have us guess and have our predictions be way off in some ways because we grabbed onto the wrong thing. But I'm not seeing that happening.
No.
So
Yeah, I guess with that, all that's left is for us to actually watch this last episode. Either
yep.
be very satisfied, very unsatisfied. My prediction will be fully neutral.
Yeah.
Not let down, but nothing special.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm seeing this going. Again, not a bad thing. Like this, there's so much good about the show, but I agree.
I mean, all that was good about the show left when 199 and 240 died.
That's just because you like 240. She's disinterested just the right amount. Yeah.
And I like 199 because he's nice.
Yeah.
Nice people get favor from me.
Thanks for huddling around the second wall with us here tonight. Join us next time as we continue our discussion on Squid Game. Please join the conversation in the comments, in social media, or on our Discord, as we would love to continue the conversation there. Again, a full list can be found at beautyandthebeast.com. Thank you, and have a great night.